Tyler, why is setting goals and accomplishing them important in our recovery and healing journey? I mean, let's talk specifically about goal setting in that regard, because that's what we're here for on this podcast. We're not just looking for health in general, although we're all fans of that. We're really looking at how does this aid recovery? How does it aid healing? How does it aid in couples that are walking through this or individuals? And why might it be important for us to do, even though this is a stereotypical thing, but at the start of a new year, how might that be important for us in our recovery journey?
Nick, taking those small steps toward our goals and then experiencing success over and over and over again builds inertia, builds self-confidence, gives us strength and hope that we can achieve those goals in life. We prove to ourselves that we can accomplish what's important.
Yeah, I wrote momentum, like that's the same thing, that inertia idea, because when you create momentum and it's happening over and over again, you then develop habits, and habits are just then, well, this is what's funny. I think, I know for me, and I just, this year just read Atomic Habits for the first time and really started to dive in some more of that stuff, that end of what it looks like to build those into life. But over time, your entire life just becomes habit. Everything you do is just a habit. And so that's what we want. Ultimately, we want health to become the habit. That's what we do. In each context, we're making the healthy decision. When faced with a double bind, we're doing the right but difficult thing in that moment. When we're feeling disconnected and pulling away, we press into relationship. Like, that's what we want. And that's why I think it's so important to set those goals. And what I would say here at the end of this episode is just that setting goals that are small and bite-sized, that are moving you in the direction of that overall health. That it's something where, making 3 phone calls when you're a group seems so silly, but it's not. What it's training you to do is to have the habit of reaching out to people. And that's just a normal thing. As you're in relationship, you're having those conversations, you're welcoming people into your life, you're exchanging about what's challenging in each of your lives. You're also learning empathy in those moments. There's so many things that could happen. So I just think that momentum becomes habit, and health is ultimately what we want our life to be about. And that just becomes that habit over time.
I think I've heard Harry Flanagan say that in recovery, we're either moving towards health and recovery, or we're moving towards relapse. That there's not this static place where we can feel like, oh, I've just got it, I'm good to go. Mm-hmm. And I think especially the further we get into recovery and healing and freedom and things are good, if we take our eyes off of that focal point of where we want to be, there can be a drift towards old unhealthy patterns. And so I think the new year, making goals, there's kind of this opportunity to just reevaluate. Where am I at now? What's needed? What should be my focus this year? Do I need to take on a new resource? Like for men, going through the Compassionate Warrior. I've heard about it. I'm going to jump in. Maybe for women who've done Betrayal and Beyond, and they've realized, now I'm in a healthy place, and I see I've got some of my issues, maybe a love addiction in there, and maybe they jump into Unraveled that they've not done before because they didn't feel the need. But if we want to keep growing, we're just saying, what's a new thing I could do or experience to make sure I keep headed in the right direction? I know Nate Larkin said it at our summit earlier this year when he said, no matter how far I get down the road, I'm the same distance from the ditch. And he's so quotable in a lot of what he says, but I think that resonated with a lot of us that, just because I'm way down the road from where I used to be, the ditch is still only a few feet away. And if I think I can drive without ever watching the road, I can just be looking elsewhere, I could end up in the ditch, even though I'm a lot further than I was before. So I think in that regard, especially if you're listening and you're at year 5, 6 and beyond, you're like, hey, we're doing the recovery thing. We've got this. This is a really helpful rhythm to just kind of pause and go, okay, for this year, for this season, where do I need to keep pressing in? And maybe it won't be, and hopefully it won't be what it was at year 1 or year 2. Yeah. But maybe there are new opportunities that God has for you that keep you focused on those priorities in your life. So I think just having this rhythm of evaluation, getting new perspective, keeps us all moving forward.